Welcome to our Pasifika Special for International Women's Day, celebrating the strength, resilience, and achievements of Pasifika women in Pacific and beyond, under the theme Inspiring Inclusion.
Lo sei, lo aute, o te tiwai i le Pasifika ma le lalangi ato.
Kia ora, talawhalawa, kamna Māori, and warm Pacific greetings to you all. I'm Tia Soakai, and I'm thrilled to guide you through this inspirational journey, honouring our incredible Pasifika women shaping our communities. So let's kick off our celebration with a powerful message from Natasha Malaysia, the CEO of PCBL.
As we gather to commemorate International Women's Day, let us reflect on the remarkable contributions of our Pasifika women. Together we inspire inclusion, empower voices, and pave the pathway for a brighter and more equitable future.
Pasifika TV was blessed to be present at the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on November 10, 2023, at the launch of the Pacific Pavilion in Rarotonga during the 52nd Pacific Island Forum Leaders Meeting. Let's hear sentiments from our leaders who have championed women's rights in the Pacific present at the occasion.
Any anniversary, such as that we are celebrating today, provides us with the opportunity to reflect on the past, to shine light on the way forward. We understand that gender inequality limits social progress, hinders social cohesion, and is a barrier to our economic progress. Aspirations towards a prosperous economy can never be realized without equal opportunities to all members of our society, especially the most vulnerable at risk of violence and exclusion, women, children, and persons with disabilities. Violence against women and children continues to be a key challenge in Samoa and the region. While the current global statistics show that 1 out of 3 women and girls are subjected to violence, the rate is 2 out of 3 women in the Pacific, which makes it one of the regions with the highest levels of violence against women and girls in the world. 52% of women in Samoa experience some form of physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Children also continue to be subjected to violence and abuse in the homes and in schools. To end violence against women and children, we must ensure that there is effective service provision and prevention. In Samoa, we are working on multiple interventions, including working with communities through a Talanoa toolkit developed by the NHRI for village-based advocates against family violence. We are using this toolkit to raise awareness about the issue in villages, churches, schools, and within families. My country, Samoa, pledges to strengthen the National Human Rights Institution, including by increasing the financial and human resource available to deliver its mandate.
There are now 6 of us in this 23-member parliament, or 23%, which is higher than the Pacific regional average of 6%. But we can do better. We know that when women have a say in decision-making processes, the outcomes are better informed, and dare I say more sensible. And dare I even suggest more common sense. So we will continue to strive for better representation of women, but I have to say, in the Cook Islands, the challenge is the women taking up the challenge. It is not them not being supported. They are supported, but it is a challenge for the women to want to stand and to want to be in that space. So that is our challenge here. However, we continue to strive for better representation of women in Parliament and ensure that our laws and policies promote women's empowerment and equality as set out in our National Policy on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment and Action Plan.
That the New Zealand Human Rights Commission does. Peace, harmony, social inclusion, prosperity. Those are the values of our Blue Pacific 2050. Those are completely in alignment, not only with human rights, but with Pacific cultures. So often there's a question sometimes about this apparent perhaps misalignment between custom and human rights. I push back and say, no, that's not the case. And can I be so provocative and say that no custom is perfect when we're talking about gender equality? Gender-based violence, violence against children. Today in New Zealand, women and children still die at the hands of men who are supposed to protect them, their loved ones. So, what do we need to do? We need to find a way. We need to find a way. And I totally believe that this is within our control. We can't control climate change by ourselves. We can't control how AI and modern technology is going to affect employment opportunities, the prosperity of the Pacific. But we can control the violence and the brutality that is inflicted in our homes upon women and children. Who are women and children? Our flesh and blood. We are all responsible for that. And so this is the time, 75 years of this Human Rights Declaration. We already had human rights before that. So let's deal with the business. Let's address this apparent social license, be it a social license that's come through custom, a social license that's come through religion, where men feel they have the right to abuse their power, to abuse their customary hierarchical power, etc. I am being purposely provocative because we need to be. We have the Pacific Island Forum. How many women are in that limelight? Very few, exactly. One. So, we need to get past the words and get serious. So,
This year we held a national summit that brought together over 800 Indigenous women and girls from remote locations across Australia. And they came together to sit together and share knowledge and learn and build on some of the initiatives happening all around the country to improve those women and girls' conditions. It was an opportunity to develop connection and relationships And this project called Wi'iyani Utangani, Women and Girls Voices, it's committed to elevating and centering the voices of those First Nations women in Australia in decision-making of government. Because as we all know, local women have the solutions to problems in their own communities, and if we listen to them, we might do better in those government programs.
It is up to the women of the Cook Islands to make that change. It can't be made by other people. The women of the Cook Islands need to vote for women when they're standing for election. The women of the Cook Islands need to come forward and say, that's a leadership role I can do. You can do. Because when you look at our ministries now, all our ministers are supported by women in their offices. So why shouldn't the women who have that ability be standing for Parliament? To go into Parliament and to make laws and to change many of the things that we would like to change.
Time to step into a world of empowerment and inspiration through the transformative power of sports. These remarkable tales were captured during the 17th Pacific Games in the Solomon Islands. Moments of joy, tears, and unforgettable achievements. The Pacific Games exemplify the power of sport to unite nations and inspire generations.
I am so happy that I was chosen to carry the flag. A few minutes after the walk-in, because I was competing early in the morning to do the weigh-in, and winning the 3 medals for the country, it was a big achievement for me, and setting records also for the Pacific Game and Oceania. Well, the challenge I find is it is a male sport, like they say it's a male sport, but for myself, I don't think that it's a male sport. Women and men have to be equal, equality. So what men do, women can do. So I didn't think it is a male sport. I just want to say encouragement is, if you love your sport and you're passionate about, just go for it. Aim high and you will do it.
Salome Mutale. I'm from Molev Lambasa. Married, I've got 2 children. My husband from Tailevu, Remasima. I'm 63 years old, and this is my 8th SPG and my very last one.
Okay, thank you, Salome. We just said that you are the oldest participant in the 2023 Pacific Games. For you personally, how does that make you feel?
Excited, because I know this is my last one.
Okay, and have you ever won any golds previously in the Pacific Games?
Yeah, a lot in running. And this is my second sport, Va'a. My last running competition was the last SPG in Fiji. 2005 was my first paddling Pacific mini games in Palau. That was my first paddling Va'a until now.
Okay, and I know age is just a number, but how do you keep fit and keep motivated to continue at your age?
First of all, the Lord. Without Him, can't do anything.
As you can see behind me are the beautiful people of the Solomon Islands, of course, rehearsing.
I'm part of this opening ceremony as part of the Zumba group. Neil from Dreamcast, he wanted to involve women and also to empower women. Our Zumba instructor, her name's Eve Barsi, and it's also a wonderful group that encourages Solomon Island women to get into exercise. As you may know, our country, a lot of people get sick from lifestyle diseases, and her group is about empowering women to, take ownership about how important it is to stay healthy. So this group, every Monday to Thursday, for about an hour and a half, we do Zumba, and our group also does fundraising for good causes to help things like cancer, when people do celebrations or to try and raise awareness for cancer. And we also do things to help little kids and babies go abroad for medical treatment, things like that. So our group's just not about just Zumba and exercise and having fun. And we also sometimes take trips out to the islands and as a group. So yeah, it's a fun and a good group, and we're very lucky to have Eve and our youngest girl. She's probably about 8. She's also here as well. She's part of our Zumba community. She's originally Solomon Island Chinese, and today I felt really emotional and very proud when I was trying to introduce her, and she said, "Oh, I'm not Chinese, I'm a Solomon Islander." So yeah, it's so good that we have a very multicultural group.
You've been a great support for the team traveling around the Pacific, and now it's a do-or-die game for the girls. What does home support mean for Tala?
I think Tala goes beyond the netball. It's leadership within women. You're looking at the young youth, women. You're looking at employment. You're looking at the innovations of them becoming leaders. So this is the other aspect that is being brought into gender issue. And I think this is very, very important for a very young population. That's 40% of Tonga is under the age of 30, 35. So the leadership within the courts goes well beyond this. And I think that's very, very important. That's why I'm here as Minister of Sports and Women to continue this and for leadership not only in netball but the rest of the other sports as well, including boxing.
In the name Tala, it has a significance in the Tongan culture. Can you elaborate, please?
Tala, of course, is the quilt of the white dove, which has that very long tail on it, and that's the female one. And this trail in itself is beauty when it goes out fishing, when it comes back home to roost. So that's mum. And of course that's why Tala is an important, it's name given by the royalties for the females and the women on the netball.
A lot of people know that I collapsed and I ended up in the hospital in the ER, emergency room, after the 10,000 meters last year. So I told myself this year that don't let the same thing happen, and so just finish the race and but then try to race hard as well, because it's like not only for you, it's for everyone back home. It's crazy. I'm from Saipan and we think Saipan's hot, but I think Salomon's even hotter and even more humid. It's really cool to have it playing and then see your flag go up and everyone standing up in the crowd, like as the anthem goes on. For those of you who did watch the race, I was, I think, probably last, like halfway through.
Yes.
And then I actually got a really bad side stitch. So I don't know if you saw me like doing this on my hand, but it was like really painful. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not even 1/4 done. I don't think I was even like a mile in, but I was like, no, Tanya, you have to push through. So I just kept going and eventually disappeared, which is good. And then I ended up coming first somehow.
Congratulations, Tanya.
Thank you. Today they're running like low 17-minute 5Ks on the track, so I thought that was like insane. So I started there running like 23 5Ks, like 23-minute 5Ks, but now I saw a few days ago I ran 18 minutes, so within like about 4 years I was able to cut down time. So for all those girls out there who think that you're not good enough, don't give up, please. Like, you'll get there, trust me, just keep persevering. I know Diana didn't run the 5K, so I knew she was fresh coming in. But I was just like give it all you got. Like, you have nothing to lose. You already got gold and set the Pacific Games record the other night, so like, what more could you ask for? So I just came out here and gave it my all, and it somehow worked out.
How do you feel having our flag up there again?
It's gonna be surreal once I'm up there. I might start crying this time. Yeah.
Just absolutely incredible experience. You know, the training that she put into it, the ability to come out here, win the 5K, set a new Pacific record, do it again in the 10K. I don't know if she broke a record, but absolutely incredible. And I just, to everybody back home, thanks for the support. And to Tanya, just, I'm so proud right now.
Not good. I think like the adrenaline really helped, and obviously the crowd, it was crazy. I don't know if they're cheering for me or Diana and the other Solomon Islands runner, but it felt like they were cheering for me, so I'll just take it. But definitely really tired now. When it gets hard, don't give up. I went to college in a D1 school called Fordham University, and I ended up being a walk-on onto the team in 2019. And I was literally the slowest one on the team by like 3 minutes. I am still in school, in college, and it is almost finals week. Like, I literally have to go back next week, and I have a presentation on the day I arrive, and I haven't even started yet. So, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but this was totally worth it. So I'm so glad that I came.
During the 13th Conference of the Pacific Communities, SBC, in Noumea last year, Naomi Maheu, Tuvalu's youth representative, delivered a powerful speech echoing the island nation's resilience and commitment to sustainability.
I am humbled to be given the opportunity to speak to you on behalf of the youth of Tuvalu. The pressing concerns that weigh heavily on the shoulders of our youth at this critical nexus are accessibility. In a world marked by rapid technological advancement, we are inundated with the latest innovations, from annual smartphone releases to the influence of artificial intelligence. Yet, it is disheartening to observe that we find ourselves on the negative side of both the climate crisis and the digital divide. In Tuvalu, our technological infrastructure is still a work in progress, with limited internet connectivity and an educational system that lacks the necessary digital resources and expertise to empower our young people for careers in this domain. Secondly, uncertainty. Climate change has cast a shadow of uncertainty over the youth of Tuvalu. The harsh repercussions, including prolonged droughts and water shortages, have instilled a desire among some young Tuvaluans to seek opportunities elsewhere. The uncertainty of our nation's future has prompted some to explore opportunities like Labour Mobility Scheme and Pacific Access Category Scheme in foreign lands, raising concerns about the depletion of our youth population at home. Moreover, we are unsure of our international recognition of our statehood under the worst-case scenario of displacement due to rising sea levels, and I think this is an important issue. How can we know for sure that our maritime boundaries remain permanent and our statehood is recognized by other countries and under international law? And in the Pacific, yes, we are all one family, but there are only 3 Pacific islands who have formally recognized Tuvalu's statehood. Lastly, lack of international action. As they say, walk the talk, but we see that this walking is taking a bit too long. There's already a lot of strong voices from Tuvalu and the Pacific advocating at the international stage, and we are dismayed to witness the persistence of inaction on the global stage as carbon emissions continue to rise, and as Coral mentioned, my apologies, we are not in the right track. How many more COP and climate discussions and dialogue do we need to attend to stress the importance of our survival? We implore the leaders gathered here to understand that while your economies may prosper, our ecology, our survival, and our very own existence and the future of our generation are at risk. In light of these challenges, our message to the conference is clear. We do not want to leave Tuvalu, or in other words, reduce your carbon emissions and honor your commitments under the Paris Agreement. Tuvalu is our home. It is my home. And there are some of us who are leaving Tuvalu due to the effects of climate change, that we are contributing at just next to nothing. You may have witnessed the 3D model of Funafuti in the library with its 2050 and 2100 projections. And the first time I was introduced to this model, I was taken aback. I was emotional. I had tears in my eyes. I was able to visualize the adverse impacts of sea level rise on my house, my surrounding, my community, and it is scary and devastating. I was thinking, is this the kind of future we will be welcoming our future children? In the model, by 2050, my house is already red. This is the scenario that I do not want my future nieces and nephews to experience. While we acknowledge the ongoing efforts of the government and youth organizations back home, such as Fulingafo, they do coral restoration, mangrove and pandanus planting, and other climate mitigation and adaptation projects, our connection to our land, our whenua, runs deep. A cultural practice which I believe the Pacific Island countries do this also is the umbilical cord or placenta of a newborn baby is buried in the land and marked by planting a coconut tree or any tree to reaffirm cultural connection to land and heritage. The umbilical cord or placenta in Tuvalu is whanua, which is whenua, the land. This shows our strong connection to our land. Our culture is a treasure that you have witnessed during our cultural performances, and we do not want to lose our culture, our rights, our sovereignty if we are forced to migrate. We appeal and call upon the leaders to lay the groundwork for a just transition. Provide a clear pathway that outlines the technology access we require, the necessary resources that we need, the career opportunities to empower our youth to remain resilient and shield themselves from over-reliance on AI. We want to ensure that there is pathway for our future set by leaders today. I wish to see this pathway come to fruition so that we can look back and we can say that yes, all leaders at this SBC Conference 13 made a difference by creating a way forward for us and the future generation. Developed nations, we urge you to assist us with the right technology in various sectors to enhance our education, our healthcare, agriculture, and more. In crafting this pathway in the Pacific, please involve us. Involve us youth in the process, as this is not only our future, but also the future of your own children. In conclusion, I'd like to echo the lyrics from our Fatele performance, which you may have seen on the screen, and I quote, "Leaders of Tuvalu and the Pacific, hear our voices. Accept and implement measures to secure our future. Let us paddle together to elevate the Pacific. Play your part in saving Tuvalu and the Pacific," unquote. If you have played your part, I applaud you and I want you to continue with your outstanding work. But if you're ignoring this This is the time for you to reconsider and start playing your part with urgency to save my home that I hold dearly to my heart, to save the Pacific and the entire world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Pasifika community in Aotearoa recently lost one of our pillars of hope, the late Whanana Efeso Collins. Our heart goes out to his young family. In his maiden speech delivered a week before he tragically left us, he said, and I quote, "Give them the tools, the resources, and the means to make a meaningful contribution to the world, and they will." As Pacific Islanders, we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors and those who have gone before us, carrying their dreams and aspirations. Let's continue their legacy by promoting inclusion, equality, and justice for all. Now we turn to a panel of Pacific journalists who shared their perspectives on women in leadership.
Yes, this has become a shrinking space for women in politics or women in leadership. And Hannah, this is something that you're very passionate about and a space that you're have been working on for a couple of years. What are your thoughts
I actually was not disheartened at all. These things will happen. These are challenges we're always going to face, whether we're in the Pacific or elsewhere. And it's up to us. And the thing I love is when I walked into the media room is I'm seeing a room full of women. So all of us women in media will have to amplify this lone voice that we have right now. And through our stories, through our interactions, and I think the important thing is the collaboration, it's highlighting that. There's an absence there and that needs to be filled. We need more seats at the table. And so I think, I don't see it really as a discouragement. For me personally, I see it as an opportunity in how do we better what we've already had and how do we bring more female leaders up to this level, because we know we can do it. So I choose to always try and see the positive side in things, And, like Kalafi said, this is our Pacific way, and it's going to be our storytelling that'll keep the highlights on this issue, and we'll slowly and gradually bring it back up.
For us in the media, you can see that women has been taking up space in places now. So having the voices of women, amplifying the voices in that space, and of course coming back to the Pacific way of doing things, the Talanoa sessions, it also helps in having discussions of this sort, so that we can also, not only will we, when we amplify the voices of women, we can see for ourselves what women are capable of doing, but it's just that the political space, it's just something that we're still working on, and we want to see more women coming up in that space as well, and we can, as the media, we can also try to do what we can to support women in this endeavor.
Our situation in Tonga is that women actually dominate every sphere in our society. For example, take media. There are more women journalists in Tonga than there are men. It's very difficult for us to try to find young guys to come into media. The leaders of the two biggest media groups in Tonga are headed up by women. And then you get into government service, most of the civil servants are women. And the CEOs in most of the ministries are women. Even if you get into business, you see women, they are the leaders of business. So in our society, over the last 20, 25 years, there's been an emergence of women leadership in Tonga. The only space where it's not happening is Parliament. But, as Hannah said, hey, it's coming. I think it's coming. And the reason why the men dominate Parliament, because women are so used to the fact when they go to vote, they just vote for men. Because they're the biggest group of voters. But I think things are changing. I would predict that in the next 5 to 10 years in Tonga, you're going to see up to half of our members in Parliament will be women. So we're gonna have a pro-men's group coming up to try to get the men in there.
Our celebrations wouldn't be complete without the recognition of the impactful work happening across the Pacific, shared through the lens of our broadcasters. Let's start off from the eastern end of the Polynesian Triangle. Yaorana Maruru Mataote Rapanui.
La Municipalidad de Rapa Nui, en conjunto con el Centro de la Mujer, hace 10 años viene trabajando para disminuir la violencia de género a través de distintas acciones, capacitando, sensibilizando y previniendo la violencia.
Mahakakore tātou I te totoa, I runga I te tātou henua, te me irae, e hanga tātou kia tātou maua. Kiriwai, moha uu ki te tahi.
También se constituyó la Red de Promotores contra la Violencia, conformada por líderes pertenecientes a distintos sectores de la comunidad, que asumen el compromiso de promover la tolerancia cero a la violencia en contra de las mujeres y niñas. La conformación de esta red busca empoderar a la sociedad civil en la búsqueda de una sociedad más justa e igualitaria. Hoy culmina la primera etapa de este trabajo en conjunto, con el desarrollo de un estudio de violencia de género en Rapa Nui y la propuesta de un plan de igualdad de género que requiere de la participación, compromiso y esfuerzo de cada uno de los sectores de la comunidad. La política de igualdad de género, que es nuestra gran meta final, es una carta de navegación que propone objetivos y líneas estratégicas para abordar situaciones concretas de injusticias, desigualdades, discriminación y violencias basadas en el género que viven niñas, mujeres y adultas mayores de Rapa Nui. La invitación es que todos debemos trabajar por una cultura de respeto, posicionando los derechos humanos por sobre cualquier otra condición.
From Rapa Nui, let's take you to Fiji, where happiness begins.
There is still a lot of work that needs to be done in trying to level the playing field for all Fijian women and girls to have greater access to leadership positions and control over economic opportunities. This is the consensus of women leaders in the country. Eva Danford has the details.
Fiji Women's Crisis Center Coordinator Shamima Ali says it is very encouraging to see more women leaders in the country, but the question that needs to be asked is who holds the real power, even if women hold the position of power.
I believe that the women who are already there, they are good, that is why they are there, but they need to be gender sensitized. All of them need to be, to know their power. A lot of times they go in, but they don't know how to deal with patriarchy and patriarchal attitudes and so on. They don't know how to. And because we grow up kowtowing to the men around us, you know, respecting the men around from our fathers, uncles, brothers, and so on, and seeing all the privileges they get, we internalize all that. And when we go into workplaces, even if we're holding good positions, high positions, we will still act that out unless we know there is a different world out there.
The acting supervisor of elections, Anna Matevio, says she believes that women can become a leader in majority fields of work. Matevio says for the elections office, their recruitment process is based on merit, and this is evident through the caliber of leadership that they have.
We provide equal opportunity, and with the recruitment process, it's based on merit. But nevertheless, if we look at the current statistics of the Fijian Elections Office, the major positions are held by women. So to name a few, we have the acting supervisor of elections, even the director of operations is a woman, as well as our human resource manager, our internal auditor, our financial controller and divisional manager central. So with these women in leadership, what we have envisioned for them is capacity building wise. So we are looking at empowering them as leaders.
The Women Entrepreneurship and Business Council Chairman Sharon Fong says they have a role in empowering women, capacity building and lobbying for change.
With some of the activities that we have undertaken is with donor and support from different donor agencies. We also do entrepreneurship training to encourage more women in entrepreneurship. That's through the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs funded by the US Embassy. Another most recent one that we've undertaken for 15 women, we're trialing it with UN SCAP, and that's on the care economy, where we're getting members and these 15 women are going through the components of how do they start up a business with regard to daycare center and supporting their daycare centers and childcare centers.
Meanwhile, the University of South Pacific Vice Chancellor Pala Lualia says he has decided to use his VC strategic funds to create a fund to enhance women to the next level.
Are ready to be, I'm really talking about academic women at this stage, ready to be promoted to the next level, but they need a little bit of help. And they need help because we know there are particular reasons why they haven't been able to get that kind of support. So I'll be setting up this initiative where we'll really push our women to, if maybe they need a couple of months off to finish some articles, maybe they need some other support, they need some mentorship. So we're going to use a Vice Chancellor's Strategic Fund this year to create that kind of momentum to try and help move more women in leadership.
Alualia says this is to give women a chance to take up leadership roles in the university. Eva Danford, Fiji One News.
MTV's Esther Gahane has this report from the land of the unexpected.
Section 55 of the Constitution of PNG stipulates that there should be equality for citizens in all areas of social, economic and political development, irrespective of race, tribe and place of origin, political opinion, color, creed, religion or sex, amongst others. Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment was established in November 2022 by the 11th Parliament, taking over the work of the previous Special Parliamentary Committee on Gender-Based Violence, which have held public hearings on May 2021 and March 2022 and produced reports and recommendations for Parliament on what more the government needed to do to address gender-based violence and inclusion of women more effectively. Following the policy launched on gender equality and social inclusion last year, the Department of Works and Highways aims to provide its employees with an equal opportunity to participate and contribute meaningfully towards the department's missions and goals regardless of gender, cultural background or marital status. Secretary for Department of Works and Highways, David Were, said, women's performance is better in terms of conduct, productivity and performance in the workplace compared to male counterparts. Mr. Were affirmed that about 20 years ago, they had only 2 female civil engineers in the department. However, they now have many female civil engineers because they see the productivity in female workers. The department's aim is to give equal opportunity to the female workers for a positive change in the country. PNG now has 3 women politicians in the parliament after the country's election in 2022. These include Member for Rai Coast, Cassie Sawang, Governor for Central Province, Rufina Pita, and Member for North Bougainville, Francisca Semesco. These 3 were the first women voted into PNG's parliament since the 2017 national general election. Cassie Sawang, who was appointed as Minister for Labour and Employment, reaffirmed her stance to review the country's existing labor legislation and updating them to match changed circumstances, and this includes an international recognized standard that gives priority to women inclusion. Australia has also supported women inclusion program in PNG since 2020. In 2023, the UN Resident Coordinator in PNG, Richard Howard, said women and girls are the #1 priority in whatever they do in the areas of economic growth, environment, sustainability, governance, women's development services, their well-being and safety within their next 5-year joint program in PNG. Estagane, MTV News, PNG.
Thank you, through Papua New Guinea. Let's travel to the Rock of Polynesia. Whakalofa lahi atu Niue.
It is actually a hard question to ask the person whether you've made an impact, because for me, I think I would prefer to hear the impact that comes from our members, our businesses, and other women around in our sector. But what I can say is that through the roles that women have, we provide a gender equity lens on a lot of decisions that we have to ensure that we include everybody into the decisions. And especially, I think, provided, I do believe women are better at multitasking, and I might get, my hand slapped by my husband from that. But in the midst of all this work and all the business, we still have to parent our children. We still have to commit to our household duties, our family duties, also our community duties that we have. And because Niue is so small, we have so many hats to wear, both men and women. And if you look at the landscape in Niue on the roles that are in government and the roles within the private sector, you'd probably find that a lot of those roles are held by women. So at times, I always talk about gender equity rather than gender equality, because I think there is now a time for us to also focus on our men folk and our young male youths.
I think it's a privilege to work in the media, and I know for the most part we as Niueans have a different perspective to the role of the media, and in particular the news media. There is, I suppose, an element of unfamiliarity on the work of journalists in probing and trying to find stories and trying to hold our leaders and decision makers to account. And I think this is quite even more challenging for women in this role. But I think for the most part we've come a long way. I'm enjoying telling the stories that we have, because there are so many stories about Niue that are yet to be told. And I hope that what we're doing now in the media in terms of producing content for audiences outside of Niue, that we will be able to tell our stories beyond our island. I hope that many young ladies, many young girls will grow up and aspire to be journalists and to tell our stories from Niue, because there's so much appetite there to discover and to know more about Niue. But we need to be in this space, in the media, to be able to tell those stories.
In Solomon Islands, they are commemorating the International Women's Day with a parade from Town Ground to Lawson Tama Stadium, where they will host their awareness event. Gina Kekea from Tavuli News caught up with Cyrene Aonima Honiara.
The theme for this year is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. And when we look at the theme, it means we have to look in other areas where, those participating organizations who will be taking part during the celebration, what is their mandate for women, how they could link the team so that it's meaningful for our women, what services they provided for women. That's the time they will come up and they have to share with our women what is the services they provided for our women. And we have 31 organizations will be taking part, and I guess this year we'll have more than the numbers we have the past. They participate in the past years. Even though we face challenges, but we still continue to thrive. At least the progress is slowly, but it's coming up. Before we talk document, but this time we don't talk document. We do programs for women out in the rural areas. Maybe next time we expect women will go in the provincial assembly using temporary special measures. So they have their special place in the provincial government act. From women in the Solomon Islands, we are so happy and to celebrate this day, very important day, and we also wish our sisters in the Pacific all the best in the celebration, and we work together to help our women in our rural areas, and hoping one day we will see the result of our work.
And finally, let's watch this inspiring message from VBTC Vanuatu.
Me one girl, one woman.
Me one student today,
more leader tomorrow.
Me stand up from equal participation. Give him voice.
Support him narfala.
Mo take him government, mo wall ikam lo doorstep long you.
Me make him business.
Create them more producer.
Represent them country long me outside.
Build him up future long Vanuatu.
Exercise must have fit all time. Mr. Long front line, long provide them health service.
Inform, educate, more entertain.
Me work long keeping justice. Serve, more protect them all people. Me grow them. Me resilient.
Mommy empowered.
Lo house. Lo school. Lo workplace. Every place me go, me creating change. Me parts will change. Inclusion is start with the me.
So from all of us at Pasifika TV, we extend our deepest gratitude to all the women and girls shaping our Pacific communities. Remember, together we can inspire inclusion, uplift voices, and create a brighter future for all. Malo au people, Vinakavakalevu, Iranahola, and thank you for joining us on this journey. Happy International Women's Day to all Pasifika sisters. May your strength and courage continue to inspire generations